Hello, everyone. So, thank you, Melis, for your moderating. So, I am Umanga Pokharel. So, almost 4 years of navigating ambiguity, making hard calls, learning fast, and building thoughtful product experiences. So, welcome to the Post-System Power three-part series. So, I hope the screen is visible to all of you, right? Understanding your brand in arts. I hope so. So, over these sessions, we will be exploring on how AI and design come together to build a stronger product and brands. So, in this first session, we will focus on understanding your brand, how to define your brand identity, positioning, customer experiences, and product vision before jumping directly into AI. So, in the second session, which will be going to be live the next week, these three sessions will be uh, live. So, let's move to the next. So let's continue moving to the next screen. So before we dive deeper into branding, so it's very important to understand what brand actually is, right? So like what is displayed in the screen, a brand is a perception people have about the company, product, or even service. So it is shaped by elements like brand essence, which is clearly visible in the canvas, mission and vision, brand values, brand personalities, of course, and the target audience. The most potential leads as well. So together, these elements help create a clear identity and build meaningful connection with people. So what are these? The brand essence, mission and vision, brand values, right? Brand personality and target audience, like in the canvas. So now that we understand what brand is, so I believe, if not also, we will close the loop what actually brand builds, what builds a brand. So a brand is created through several elements working together. This includes visual identity, messaging also, customer experience, which we call the CX in our design jargon, which is the subset of user experience, and the values that the company represents. The next slide. So when all these elements, all these parts stays consistent throughout the design, they help us create trust, also recognition, and stronger connection with the audience. Right? So before moving forward, it's very important to understand the difference between brand branding and brand identity, because these are the terms that are often get confused. Even one time, co-founder and entrepreneur asked me about these terms. So today I'll be describing this more uh, vastly. So let's move forward. So a brand is how people perceive a company, right? Branding is the process of shaping that perception through strategy, communication, and a more experiences, which comes along as the time passes. That's what I believe. And the brand identity is the visual and communication system that represents the brand, such as logos, colors, typographies, design styles, design system as well. So understanding these all jargons helps us differentiate the business and create a more consistent and memorable presence, right? So I hope everyone is on the same page as I am. So let's move forward to the next slide. So before building any product, it's very important to clearly define the product vision. The vision, which is the most important thing, and with the proper execution, that ideas will come to life, right? So this means understanding the long-term impact the product aims to create. So from the beginning, if we aim to execute that idea, it will only come to life at that stage. So the focus should be on solving the problem, not just on the technology of AI itself, because as we have always said, it will be always uh, said even in the future, that AI is just a tool, right? So we should ask important question like what real user pain points are we solving? Otherwise, we will just be solving for the sake of solving, right? So why does this product need to exist now? what does success look like in the next 1 or 2 or 3 even years. So having clear answers and boundaries to these questions, uh, which I believe help product with stronger purpose and direction. So let's continue to the next slide, and let's see the key elements of brand guidelines. So the first one is clarity, right? Clear brand guidelines remove confusion, which is a very needless to say, and which also help us maintain consistency across designs, messaging, and over communication as well. So this will help people recognize and trust the brand more easily. And the second one is growth. So strong guidelines help teams work faster, stay aligned, and we can only work faster if we all are in the same pace. If we are even in the lesser pace or even in the higher pace, it would be very difficult to scale the brand while keeping the consistency, right? Across every touch point also. So we should be in the same pace. And finally, loyalty. So consistent brand experience build trust over time. It will not happen overnight. Like I have built a brand yesterday, and I expect something. I expect output in the next day or in the following next few days. It will only result in weaker emotional connection and discourages long-term loyalty. Right. So loyalty happens slowly, gradually. If we put features that really solves the problem, if we expect to answer the pain points of user, then only we expect loyal users. So these are the key elements of brand guidelines. So let's move. Let's talk about the typography and design elements. So as we have believed from the very first day of our learning, that typography is just about font, and what we are misunderstanding that a font is some typefaces like sans serif. So it's not just about choosing a good looking font while building a brand, right? So it needs to help. So it needs to help us create a brand personality before choosing a right typeface. So which keeps the content readable, and which should keep the content readable, right? And which should be consistent across all platforms. So that's what I believe. So mm, and when we talk about design elements, we mean things like images, icons, shapes, right? Patterns, and even textures, even noises as well in the designs. So these visual elements help the brand stand out and give it a unique identity, which I believe the typography and design elements are the key elements in the brand guidelines, which are the solid foundation while building a brand. So let's move forward. Let's talk about typography in detail. So what I am showing in this canvas, it is the playbook from our Gurzu. So it is very important to talk about this as well. So because it shapes how a brand feels and how clearly it communicates, right? So most brands defines just primary font and secondary font. So we should also know what it is used for. So let's move forward. So the primary font is used for headings, right? So as we have always distinguished the primary font, which is the key, which is the foundation of typography, right? Which represents the key messaging, right? And while the secondary font, it is used for body texts and supporting content, not just for a product design, even for branding. So when used consistently, this typography includes readability, and as we have already talked about the keys element, this builds a strong unified brand identity, which I strongly believe. And let's talk about iconography as well. So as we have already we have seen day-to-day lives, that icons are the visual element, even in from minor to minor pages, minor to minor screens. we have always seen icons, right? These are the small visual elements, but they play very big role in communication. Just a minute. So let's continue, right? So sorry for that. So where we were, on iconography. So as we are, what we have displayed in this visual identity iconography, there are a lot of icons, page outlines, which are the types of iconographies. So which helps and play a big role in communication. So they help users quickly understand information without reading too much text. Even in some app, with just an icon, we have understood what this is all about. So in brand guidelines, this icon or iconography ensures all icons follow consistent style, stroke, size, and tone. So if one icon is subtly different than other, it will create a kind of subtle uh, inconsistency among the user's mind. So this needs to be consistent, right? For the proper interfaces and to feel more unified and professional, we use icons that are intuitive and visually clean. So another one were logo and colors. So logo and color are at the heart of brand's visual identity. So logo is what people recognize first in every app, right? In every brand, logo is the definition of recognition. Even in from top-notch brand to the brand that we're just starting, the first thing that we recognize is the logo, and it stays at our heart for a long time if it resembles what it truly wants to display. So it needs to be simple, consistent, and should be used correctly across all platforms. So it acts as the face of the brand, which I've already told you guys. In the same way, colors also define the mood and the emotion of the brand. So there should be a fixed color palette which ensures consistency, helps people instantly identify the brand whenever they see it, right? Whenever I see about McDonald, a red color pops up in my mind. So these are the strong recognition that makes brand visually memorable. When you talk about Gurzu, light blue color suddenly appears in my mind. This is what brand is actually about. So, for example, let's take a detailed example. So Nike, right? So let's say Nike, the uh, tick mark is extremely simple, but it represents movement and performance. Even without text, people instantly recognize what it is about, right? So before the common, not common era, before uh, before 20s, the Apple logo is clean and minimal, right? So which reflects the brand focus on simplicity and premium. But it was not like that past in 70s or 80s, right? So people uh, instantly recognize it. So let's see what the anatomy of logo. So it should build instant recognition and should become the symbol of entire brand. So now we knew somewhat about logo. We should also know about logo styles. There are actually quite different depending on how a brand wants to be recognized. So some brands go with the word mark, which is a type of logo where full name is designed in a unique type style like alphabet, Google. Other use letter marks where just initials are used like IBM. So to keep it very simple and compact. Then we have symbol-based logos where only icons are used like Apple. And there are other brands as well. When we combine both text and symbols like Adidas, Nike, and to get the best of both, so recognition and flexibility, each style needs to work differently, but the goal is always the same: strong recognition, and easy recall, right? So let's move forward in the logo uses and placement. As we have always saw, there are logos are placed some in the middle where when some logo is aligned left and the word mark is in the right. So logos aren't always used in just one fixed way. They often come in various different variations. So it depends on the context. So for example, a brand might have a full logo with both icon and text for main use, but also a simplified icon should be kept for small spaces, or when they need fab icons. So small spaces like app icons should be kept in their alternatives or alternations. So there can also be horizontal and vertical version to fit different layouts, and sometimes monochrome versions always or will also use with color determine a major factor. So let's move to the next screen. So what AI tools can we use or can we explore while building a brand? So I have always said, so design system is basically organized in three modes, right? So uh, let me see what tools we can use. Midjourney for logo direction, Gary for quick concept visualization, right? So Pinterest for mood board plus trend alignment. So sorry. So we can try various variation, compare them side by side and refine based on what truly fits your brand vision, right? So at Gurzu, we have a team to exactly do that. So instead of just locking in one direction order, we create space to experiment with different logo styles, color systems, typography, and overall visual directions. So this iterative approach helps you, not just me, move from clear ideas to clear, consistent, and well-defined brand identity. So uh, I've always said AI tools are amazing, but without clear direction, they can also generate absolute chaos at enterprise scale. So you can use these tools, and the importance is creates generates a multiple sources of revenue. So we have talked a lot about typography today, and this screen also demonstrates what primary font and secondary font is used for, their hierarchy, their body texts, subtitles, bottom, and captions. So we'll skip this one, and let's move forward to the next screen, which we have also talked earlier, why we use primary palette, secondary palette, and the use cases of each uh, and its purposes as well. Like when each color is defined with each values, like when to use X, RGBs, and CMYK color to ensure accuracy. We use it for different purpose, and one should have the consistency and brand recognition and understanding of proper brand to know this. So which will play a key role in usability and accessibility. So making sure the design is clear and easy for everyone to interact with. So one needs to understand that color palette are also the base for creating a beautiful and consistent brand. So one needs to keep up that in mind. So let's move to the next screen where the tools where we can build color and typography system. So there are some really helpful tools, to be very honest, that makes process faster and more structured. For example, where we can see Chroma, Colors, Adobe Fonts, Fonzo, and many other plugins, which will help generate personalized color system based on your preference, while great for exploring and testing palettes as well. Actually, yes, some of them are paid also, but you can use uh, for professional and high quality typefaces, or you can experiment with free tiles as well. So the real value, which I truly believe, is that these tools help us establish visual consistency. if you use them properly. So it makes the whole design system more intentional and scalable, right? So I believe we are all on the same page. So let's move to the next screen, digital experience section. So what does it mean? So voice and tone. So this defines how a brand actually sounds, not just how it looks. So it includes the writing style, the words, the terminologies, and that what we choose and how the tone we choose adapts across the different platforms, right? So, for example, on a website, the let's take a genuine example. So, the on some websites, the tone is usually professional and informative, right? On some social media, it becomes more conversational and engaging. So, it should create some balance accordingly with the platform that we are using. So, it is all kind of blueprint for the social apps. So it is already pre-written that what kind of tone we should use. So if we are building some website, we should keep some sort of theme for that, some sort of tone for that. But if we are building for another website, let's say some for hospitality, we should create brand that feels more human, let's say, which should be recognizable, and that brand should communicate the language that we are trying to communicate, right? It should reciprocate the uh, more human form from the website. So let's move to the UX guideline. So the first and most important, you cannot build something from scratch without knowing the UX principle, UX guidelines. So there comes the WCAG, the main guideline, or say, let's say the international standards for digital contents, which should be not just accessible for people like us, but also for people with disabilities, because accessibility helps create products that are visible for people from different inclusivity, right? So another one is clear navigation. So this will help user move through the product without confusion. And another one is effective CTAs, right? We cannot just keep some buttons or some triggering actions out of nowhere in the canvas. It should be guided to our users with the next action should be clear. So uh, and another one is user-friendly forms, which I believe is one of the most important and the most used interaction, because this is the source of truth, which I actually believe, because this will help us move the needle, and it will reduce friction by a lot of margin. So we can also see that the brand guarantees visibility and consistent identity that resonates with its audience, and that is the fundamental guideline of UX. So let's move in the another screen. So which says AI for content and brand voices, like we have already seen for typography, scholar, which tool to use. But these tools are not the the source of tools. There are a lot of other tools as well, which we can use for contribution, for brand voice, for colors. I have just mentioned some of the few we can experiment on, right? So defining and maintaining consistent brand voices is just as important as visuals, right? So uh, I truly believe today there are some AI tools that make this a lot more structured and scalable. Like this is, you can say, this is the one of the source of truth, like ChatGPT, which can help define tone, save messaging, and even generate taglines. I think this one is barely unused. So another one is Jasper, which is more focused on marketing content, helping maintain a strong brand voice and across campaigns, right? We can use that also. You can try that also. And another one for refining tone, Grammarly, which is in 2023, uh, it is one of the most used plugins in the web. So I believe most of you have already used. And another one is Notion AI, which is a great for organizing all of these proper brand based system and documentation. So the real value, right? The real value here is consistency. These tools help ensure the brand sounds the same across websites, social medias, and product, no matter who is writing. So I think these tools will be not new to you, but you can experiment on. So let's move to the next slide, marketing materials. As we have already talked before about Jasper, there are a lot of other purposes where we can use marketing AI tools, which will help us keep a brand consistent over across all touch points, right? So this includes things like email templates, landing pages, banners, ads, digital brochures, and even presentations. So when all of these follow the same visual messaging system, the brand stays recognizable and unified. So no matter where the user interacts with it, right? So that's how company maintain consistent branding across all their phases and over time. So let's see one example. So this is a good example of difference between redesign and rebranding. So here doesn't just change how the logo looks, right? So it changed how the company positions itself in the future of mobility. Back in few years back, it was just a fuel four-wheeler. Now the company positions itself in the electrical era. So when they switched into electrical four-wheeling, they entirely changed the brand. So now a lot of people know brand by this logo. Yeah. And slowly and gradually, people will shape their mind with the new logo, new branding, and that's how company position itself. So this one is also a great quote which emphasizes the strong brand loyalty that Adidas has cultivated among its customer. So here the consumer James Water, not just customer, his consumer expresses a clear expectation of quality and reliability with the brand. The phrase customer here I have already mentioned, not just a consumer, highlights the deeper relationship Adidas has with its audience. Not just James Water, even myself, when I am in the mart, I want to buy something, my focus will clearly stays on the brand that I'm already familiar with, right? Which is the sentiment that reflects the importance of uh, branding and building trust with the brand interaction. And I believe it is not just with me, all of you, with all of you. So let's see the metrics here. 23% increase in revenue, 3.5x more visibility in the market, 77% consumers buy from brands that share their values, which I have already mentioned, which uh, structured the brand even more. And for 73% consumers buy from brand they recognize or they are familiar with. So the psychology with 77 percent of consumers buying based on shared values is essential to communicate those values at scale, right? They are not selling just one or two shoes. They are uh, selling billions of sneakers all around the world. So that one brand not just aim for aesthetics. They are building a system to achieve more market visibility. That is what a brand actually story tells its story. So, so why is it necessary to maintain and implement brand guidelines? We can also sustain in market without the proper brand, right? There are a lot of brand they do not implement the theory, right? They are just without any brand guidelines, but they have also stayed in the market for long term. But we need to understand that the implementation they have done are already built on three pillars, but they needs to be more solidified. That's when the brand actually come in place. So let's talk about centralization. So what I was on centralization, right? So a centralization is a single digital source of truth, which ensures everyone is using the correct asset and eliminating guesswork, right? We do not guesswork in the enterprise level. We should be building systems that shouldn't be static. So there should be regular updates and version controls of the guideline. Uh, for scaling the product. And we should also build a culture. Like we should be changing those brands, rebranding those brands time to time if we aren't getting proper results, right? So we should also look at the metrics. So onboarding and workshop on these rules to sell knowledge and making every team in the brand a proper professional. So this should be one of our very important topic. So I believe most of us may not have noticed good design immediately, but they definitely notice bad design immediately, right? This is all what brand is all about. So if your app needs tutorial before opening the home page, you may need to revisit the strategy. So we should also uh, very careful about that. So So before I wrap up, I just want to say thank you for your time and attention today. But this is just the first session of our three long session. So it really means a lot to be able to save this journey on our brands are built from understanding the basics to shaping identity and maintaining consistency across every touchpoint. Right? I believe I have said what I have learned from my long journey. So, and of course, I want to take a moment to talk about Gurzu. So at Gurzu, the foundation of this Gurzu, we focus on helping teams not just design visuals, but build meaningful brand through explorations, iterations, and thoughtful executions. So it's about turning ideas into structural identities that can grow and scale over time. So we believe great branding doesn't happen overnight or in one step, it evolves. So that is what Gurzu cares, and we are here to support that evolution. So thank you once again, and I really appreciate your time. Thank you.